Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. This is Mike, and this is Mike Dell's World number 429 for the 23rd of November, 2025.
I think it's time for Mike Dell's World. There it is.
And here we are. So today I'm going to talk about aviation, and specifically aviation up north here at Traverse City Cherry Capital Airport, which we talked about the airport back in, long time ago on the 7th of the month, I think. Yeah, it was the 7th of the month. We talked all about the airport here, but what we're going to talk about this time is flight schools and other schools at the airport. And what I mean by that is places to learn to fly, and also we have a unique school up here to teach people to be airplane mechanics. And it's pretty robust, I have to say, for a place that a lot of the year, it's really hard to get good flying weather. But we have a really successful school here, Northwestern Michigan College, which also has the, excuse me. Wow. Anyway, Northwestern Michigan College also has the only freshwater maritime academy to, teach people how to be engineers and officers on, mainly Great Lakes freighters, but they can go worldwide in the merchant marines, working on ships and whatnot. That's one of their big schools here. And then the other one is the NMC Aviation School. And they're a pretty big deal. They've got, I don't know how many aircraft, but a lot, I have to say. A lot of 172s, some twins. And their business is making airline pilots. They teach aviation from, private, commercial, multi-engine, and instructor ratings. And then a lot of times the instructors, once they graduate as an instructor, they work for the school as instructors until they get their 1,500 hours they need to apply to the airlines. And they have a pretty good track record of, getting people through that school and eventually onto the airlines. There is a rule to get your ATP, which is Airline Transport Pilot License, or certificate. They don't call them licenses, by the way, but people use it colloquially. Anyway, English optional today. But, NMC graduates a lot of pilots for, airlines and, corporate jet jobs and other things. They don't teach helicopters, but there's another, I don't know if you want to call it a school, but there's another helicopter thing here in town, but we'll get to that. But NMC Aviation is, they're top notch, and they just built this beautiful facility over there. They redid their hangars, and they got a maintenance facility, and it's just awesome. I got a little tour of it not too long ago, and they just opened it up, I want to say less than a month ago. And, they keep getting in new aircraft, and, they're just, they're building. The guy that runs it over there is a former 747 pilot, young guy too. He worked for Atlas Airlines. You probably never heard of Atlas, but you have heard Prime Air. They're a cargo outfit, and one of their claims to fame is they operate all of the Prime aircraft, or not all of them, I should say some of them. They they operate those. They also operate the Dreamlifter, which is that really weird looking 747 that hauls the parts around for the 787 for Boeing. But anyway, and I actually know 3 people that either have worked there or do work there. Rick and Kelsey, the 2 that I know that are both captains on 747s. This guy, I don't think he was a captain, but he was on the 747. He got tired of being gone all the time. So he took the job here at NMC Aviation and is doing a bang-up job. It's a really cool facility. And, like I said, they train a lot of people to be airline pilots and other, paid pilots, people that do it for a career. But that leaves a little gap there because, recreational pilots and some people that also want to do airlines. There's another outfit, one that I've taken advantage of is Giving Wings Aviation. That's done by a guy, Eric, and he is running this flight school and maintenance facility, so he does maintenance on other people's airplanes, but mostly the airplanes for the school. So I don't know what's going on with my watch here, but, so I've been flying with them for a few years and renting airplanes and taking instruction and all that good stuff. And it's, it's a nice outfit and it's a small outfit, which is kind of nice. So, that's another option for, pilots that want to get their sport pilot license, their private pilot license, even their commercial. And, they do all the stuff. It's just, they don't do multi-engine anymore and they don't do seaplanes anymore. At one point they were doing seaplanes and multi-engine, but they've kind of pared it down to just single-engine land aircraft. And you can get all your ratings on those, at least all the single-engine ratings. And, it works out really good. It's a more laid-back school. The way the FAA does it, there's things called a Part 141 school, which goes by a syllabus. And Giving Wings also does 141 training as well. But 141 training is more airline focused or career focused aviation, whereas Part 61 is kind of the more laid back, you get an instructor, you get all the boxes checked, and then you take a check ride and you get a certificate or a license, for, what most people call a pilot's license, but, it's not really a license, it's a certificate. That's what the FAA calls it anyway. And, But it's really nice that here in Traverse City we have these schools available. Really nice for me. I live, 5 minutes away from the airport here, from the Giving Wings hangar. So when I go flying, I'm going to go flying at 4. I leave here at 10 minutes to 4. I'm over there in plenty of time, and it's great. Like I said, it couldn't be more convenient. The airspace is a bit of a challenge, especially with all the college planes and all that. But, it's a busy airport. But there's a lot of airports around here. In part 2 of this Aviation Up North series, I'm going to talk about some of the other airports around here. But we'll focus on the schools that are in the area right now and, and other interesting things. Our high school also has an aviation program. And now somebody else is talking. I don't know what's going on. I think my phone and my Alexa and all that stuff is talking. It's all right. I got my headphones on. I won't pay any attention to it. But anyway, our high school, or not our high school, I should say our regional career tech center, which is affiliated with a bunch of high schools around here, also has an aviation program. Now, they're not flying. These are, 11th and 12th grade students in high school. And, it's kind of aviation, introduction to aviation and some maintenance. And, our local EAA group is going to get involved with them a little bit as for mentorship and maybe building airplane or something, something like that. Again, it's a fairly new program. And a lot of the guys from EAA are helping out the instructor and all that, getting that program off and running. But it's pretty slick how that works. It used to be called the TBA Career Tech Center, and I don't remember they've changed their name like twice, but it's part of the intermediate school district, which covers the 5-county area around here. And they teach a lot of other things over there, the building trades and small engine repair, auto mechanics, auto body shop, medical. That's what I went to it for, 30, 40 years ago. Jeez. But I did a year, my senior year of high school, did the medical thing. It's called, I don't even remember what the class was called, but basically teach how to be a nurse's aide, which I never did. I got through the course, but I went in the Air Force and did a lot of airplaney things, so didn't really use the medical thing. But it was a way to get off campus for half a day my senior year, because I had enough credits to graduate high school early anyway. So it wasn't really a goof off class. It was a very informative class and not particularly easy. But anyway, wish they had aviation back then, but they didn't. But now they do. And like I said, a lot of our EAA guys are involved with helping the instructor set that up. But, I don't know how much they're involved, but pretty cool. And then there's Legacy Aviation. Now, this is unique in the aviation maintenance world. It's the only school in the country that you can do a 12-month program, and that takes you all the way up to where you can get your airframe and power plant license, which is the license you need. And that, they call that a certificate too, probably, but FAA is weird. But, get your certification to be a aircraft mechanic. And this one does it in 12 months. The one that's even, close to that is 18 months to 2 years usually. And for, fairly substantial amount of money, but not ridiculous, not college level amount of money. You can go to Legacy Aviation, and I think they do 50 weeks. So they get 2 weeks off during the year, but it goes year round. And when you come out of there, you are eligible for the AMP certificate. And, I've got a interview lined up with the founder of that and some of the people involved with that. So look for that coming sometime in the not too distant future. We've been planning it for 3 or 4 months, but I want to sit down and interview those guys, because that is quite the program they have over there. And what's really cool about Legacy Aviation is, on top of that, they're also donating the office space and meeting area for the local Experimental Aircraft Association and the local Civil Air Patrol. And they're right on the airport. They have a hangar. They have, I think they have, I want to say it's a 727 aircraft. That's up in Oscoda at the old Air Force base up there, the old Wurtsmith Air Force Base. And there's a huge maintenance facility up there, and Evergreen Airlines is up there, or at least part of them is up there. There's a big 747 engine facility up there. Just a lot, a lot of aviation stuff over there in Oscoda on that old air base. And they donated a 720. I think it's a 727. One of its engines is in the hangar over at Legacy, and that's really quite the facility. And when the kids graduate, they graduate with a toolbox, all donated and or paid for by the tool manufacturers, and all the stuff they need to do to become an aircraft mechanic. And there's a big shortage in aircraft maintenance, both for airlines and the military, even hire civilian mechanics. Although I don't believe they have to have their A&P license to work on military aircraft, because I didn't. I never got the A&P, but I was military too, so I don't know what the requirements are for that. But Legacy is quite the outfit. They even give us an extra room there in the EAA, and we have a simulator room. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simulator setups in there for flight sim, different versions of it or whatever, but they're really pretty nice simulators. They have the throttle quadrants, the rudder pedals, either a stick or a yoke, all on the desk and everything, and they can all be tied together. And some of the controllers from Traverse City come over and pretend to be controllers when the kids are flying, and mostly kids, but I played with them too. I don't like to use the sim all that much because it gives me bad habits in the real airplane. So, but it's still pretty good and pretty realistic. And then they have a motion sim in another room over there at Legacy, where, it isn't one of those full motion ones, but it's close enough. And they wear the VR goggles. It's pretty intense flying those things. And that's pretty cool. But Legacy is a relatively new startup, and they're doing good. A lot of benefactors around here got that going. And like I said, we'll be talking to some of them in a future episode, not during NAPOD POMO. But if you want to learn to fly, you can come to Traverse City to do it. If you want to be an airline pilot, go to NMC. You want to just do it for fun, do Giving Wings, or even if you want to be a airline pilot, it's a little cheaper to go to Giving Wings to get up to a certain level, but to go get your multi and a few other things, you got to go over to NMC or somewhere else. There's also a relatively new flight school, and I don't have great big details on it, over at Cadillac Airport, which is about, driving about an hour south, about 15 minutes by air. They go down there and shoot touch and goes once in a while when they're not busy. But there's a relatively new one going on down there. I saw it on Facebook, so I don't really know much about it, but that's another option for those that want to learn to fly. And then there's a guy that does seaplane training, and like I said, I don't have any great big details, but he does it over on Silver Lake, over close to Traverse City, and I could probably get the guy's name and phone number if you're interested in pursuing a seaplane rating. Chances are, though, you probably have to have your private pilot's license before starting with him. I don't think he does any initial training. But again, like I said, that's not really a school. That's just a dude in an airplane. And I told you I was going to talk about helicopters. Well, there's no real helicopter school here, but the U.S. Coast Guard Air Station is here. And a lot of the students, a lot of the Coast Guardsmen, that say because they all go to helicopter school at Fort Rucker, Alabama. That's the big Army school. And even the Air Force sends pretty much everybody there to get their initial helicopter training. And then they go out to their individual services. Now, I know the Coast Guard's really big air stations, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, I believe. But pretty much everybody in the Coast Guard and aviation cycles through Traverse City at some point. And they do a lot of training, and not initial training or anything like that. A lot of it is just, training people to fly the H-60s, which is what they have up here. And, I hear them a lot on the scanner. I'm lucky. I live right near the airport here, and I've got, my ham radio set up, and on my ham radio setup and a scanner, I can listen to air traffic control. In fact, I wrote the book on it, Flight Radio. I think it's mostly out of print now, but it was available on Amazon. I don't know. I keep getting little tiny royalty checks once in a while, but anyway, it is out there. It's a book called Flight Radio. Basically, it's just how to listen to airplanes on a scanner or on a, whatever. But now, there's liveatc.com where you can stream it from all over the world. So, most people just do that. But, some of us still listen to it, but I'm real close to the airport, so I can hear, I can hear the people on the ground. I can hear the people in the air. I can, hear most of what goes on around here as far as air traffic. And a lot of times the Coast Guard will be out there, doing auto rotations and pattern work in the helicopters and, full run-on landings and just, obvious training. And also the North Flight, I guess it's called still, but the local air ambulance outfit, they have a King Air and a S-76 helicopter. Anyway, sometimes you'll hear them out training, but they're just doing that for currency. It's not really a school. But anyway, that's really about it, about what I got about the training in schools here in Traverse City and all that. Like I said, if you want to learn to fly, this ain't a bad place to do it. It's just in the winter, you're going to have a little challenge with the weather. It's like when I'm training, it's always, summertime, springtime, fall, and, maybe go for a flight in the winter if you get a really nice day or something like that. But again, I'm a fair weather pilot, so I'm not going to go when it's crappy. I'd rather be sitting here wishing I was flying than up there wishing I wasn't. So with that, tomorrow's episode, I'm going to talk about some of the other airports around here. Why not? Since it's my show. Anyway, catch you tomorrow.